Hello and welcome to Turning Veganese. Now if I say Coldplay, Joey Carstrom, Gary Francione, Catherine Klein, what do you make of it? I know what you're thinking. AJ has finally lost it. He lost his mind. What is this? But bear with me. Just listen to the story that I'm about to tell because it's important. It's all going to make sense, right? At the end, because yes, there is a connection between these elements that I just mentioned. It will become very clear. But first you have to listen to this story by yours truly. It all begins with Coldplay. Around 20 years ago, there was this band, this British band, the aforementioned Coldplay, of course. They were very famous, very popular. But I absolutely hated them. I hated them with a fiery passion. My blood boiled every time I listened to them. You know, every time they were playing in the background. Whatever. You couldn't escape them. And I absolutely despised their style, their music, their songs. Just couldn't stand them. And especially that Chris Martin guy. Oh man, I really wanted to punch him in the face, you know? And so here's the thing, whenever I was in a social gathering or any other such event with other people in the room, and there was Coldplay in the background, like in a TV screen or an MP3 player, that was a thing back then, or a CD, whatever, I had to make it perfectly clear to everyone in that room that I absolutely hated them. And by them, I mean Coldplay. I mean the people, I also hated the people, but you know. But Coldplay, you know? So I had to make it perfectly clear. So I start, you know, making like faces and cross my arms and go like this, and you know. I think that's when the "gah" actually, you know, was born. You know, back in the day, it was thanks to Chris Martin and his band. And oh man, I really despised them. Even remembering those times, I'm getting worked up, you know. But so yeah, I had to make it perfectly clear just how much I hated Coldplay, and they were the worst band ever. They sucked, they were terrible. And yeah, but why did I do that? Because in my mind, you see, if I'm in a room full of people and Coldplay is playing in the background and I'm not saying anything, it could be that the people might think, oh, Coldplay is playing, Armando seems to be, you know, perfectly happy or not saying anything. He must be a fan of Coldplay. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a Coldplay CD on his birthday or something. But you see, that wasn't really the case. It was only my mind, because I'm a paranoid freak. So in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking those people, my friends, my family, they're going to think that I like this band if I don't say anything about it. And I didn't want to be associated with such a terrible musical taste. So that's why I did what I did. And of course, not only with Coldplay, I did this for any other thing that I didn't like. I would have to speak my mind. I would speak my mind all the time to draw the line and make it perfectly clear what I liked and what I didn't like. This cost me a lot of trouble and probably some friendships, you know. Oh man. But what are you gonna do? That was me. I was a neurotic, paranoid weirdo, so in my mind, that's what was happening. But in reality, those people, my friends, in the social gathering, the party, wherever it was, they weren't thinking, hey, Armando likes Coldplay. No, they were thinking about, you know, drinking and eating and banging their girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever. They weren't thinking of me and my musical tastes. And even if they were, I just didn't have the mental capacity to understand that what was the problem with that. It would just be a mild misunderstanding, and they would just ask me, hey, you like Coldplay? The only thing I had to say was no, and that's it. But I made a storm out of a glass of water, you know. So that's the thing, and that brings me to Joey Carbstrong, because you see, now he is a famous vegan and a famous animal rights activist, and recently he started posting something. He started making comments about an ongoing conflict in the Middle East. You know which one I'm talking about. And not only that, he's made it perfectly clear that he's chosen a side on the conflict. Now, this infuriates me because, you see, he's making the same mistake that I was back then. That's what I think. He's making the same mistake because no one was thinking, hey, there's a conflict going on in the Middle East. I wonder what Joey Carbstrong has to say about it. He hasn't said anything about it, so he must be, you know, pro this or anti that or something. He didn't no one was thinking that. He didn't have to publish those, you know, thoughts or whatever. He didn't have to say anything about it. All I want from a vegan and an animal rights activist is vegan stuff. Like his documentary, Pignoramus or something. That's great. But don't do this thing. And then he went on a rant about people, you know, responding to those comments that he made in not a favorable way. So then he said, well, follow me, unsubscribe and whatnot. That's even worse. Like, dude, really? It's all in your mind. Nobody was asking you about your opinion on that. Nobody cares about your opinion on it. Just say vegan stuff. That's why we are subscribed. That's why we like you. That's what the animals are expecting from you. Which is the most important part of all this. The animals. So when you take your time and effort to speak your mind on some issue, some human issue, you betray the animals. That's what you've been doing, and you didn't do that just once, but several times. And it's like you betray the animals when you do that. You do. And to me that was terrible. I don't care your opinion on that because you're neither a pundit on the subject, you're not one of the affected parties in the subject or in the issue. So, shut it. Or like we say in Venezuela, calladito te ves más bonito, which means you look prettier when you shut up. You know, man alive. Or you look prettier when you're quiet. I don't know. Take whatever translation you like best. Bloody hell. And this leads us to Gary Francione. Now, again, Gary Francione, another vegan. Now this guy, Gary Francione, wrote an essay about the trans A. And I'm like, hey? Why did he do that? What? You see? This is exactly what's wrong. The same thing happened. This guy, nobody asked him. Nobody was thinking, hey, there's an issue going on with the gender issues and stuff and the trans community and who can go to which bathroom I, I wonder what vegan Gary Francione thinks about this. Nobody was thinking that, nobody asked him. But of course, I read this essay and it reads like he was annoyed at having to write this thing, you know, almost as if he was like, oh, well, I have to write this thing. Nobody was asking you about it. Nobody was annoying you into writing such a thing. You did it because you wanted to. So you took your time and your effort to write and edit and format and publish this thing that has nothing to do with the animals. And now you're alienating half your, you know, your audience or your public or whatever you want to call it, or your followers or whatnot, and you're infuriating possible future vegans of the LGBTQ variety. Bloody hell, dude. We as vegans have a commitment, and we have a responsibility, because any one of us, we have to understand that even if we're not really, no one here, Gary Francione or Gary Yourofsky or Earthling Ed or Joey Carstrom, yeah, they're famous to us, but they're not famous, if you know what I mean. It's not that they're worldwide known, you know, but they could be, and they, you know, anyone can stumble upon these people, and what they're going to see from them, they're going to think that that's every vegan. They're going to think, oh, every vegan is this person. So when you do these things, when you speak your mind on certain issues that are so divisive and so controversial, and that you can't solve with an essay or with an Instagram post, man, it's so damaging to the animals, the very same animals that you're supposed to try to help, but it's undermining their cause and it's betraying them. My life is terrible. It's terrible. I don't know. Like, if you have those opinions or whatever, say it to your colleagues, to your pals, to whatever, or in private, or discuss it in private or something. Vent your feelings if you want with your, you know, friends or close ones or whatever it is, someone who wants to listen to you. But don't do this. It's terrible. Well, it's already done, so what are you gonna do? And then, of course, we have Catherine Klein, who felt Catherine inclined to make a video response to Gary Francione's essay. So now we not only have this guy writing this thing, we now have this lady responding to the thing. And it's a 55-minute video responding like point for point or whatever to this Gary Francione. And it's like, what the heck, Catherine Klein? You're making the same mistake as Gary, as Joey, and the same mistake I was making with Coldplay. Nobody was thinking, hey, Gary Francione wrote an essay on the trans issue. I wonder what Catherine Klein thinks about it. She must agree with him because she hasn't said anything. No, nobody was thinking that. Nobody was expecting you to do a video response to that. No. So you took these 55 minutes to produce a video responding to something that shouldn't have been written or published in the first place, and now you no, lady, no, absolutely not. No, just, you know, just keep it about the animals, please, everyone. Just keep it about the animals. If you don't want to, then, you know, either, I don't know, this might come off as controversial or whatever, but I think that if certain vegans are not willing to set aside their feelings for different topics that are controversial in the human context to favor the animals and keep the animals as the primary objective, their liberation, I think these vegans should just either quit their platform or just rebrand as something else and not talk about veganism anymore, because they're doing a disservice to the community. They're doing a disservice to something that wants to be a movement but isn't. It's not a movement, and it's certainly not a community, because we don't have, yeah, sure, we share a common goal seemingly of freeing the animals from human oppression, but is that really the case? Sometimes I wonder. I don't know, this whole thing is absolutely ridiculous, completely unnecessary. None of that was necessary, and all of that is exactly what I was doing when I was like a 20-year-old neurotic and paranoid weirdo, like I said. And okay, it was immature of me to have that attitude and stuff, but Coldplay really sucks, man. I mean, so yeah, that's the thing. These people are doing the exact same thing I was doing back then. They're taking it as if someone else is thinking, oh no, this person has to say something about it. You don't have to say anything about any of that. No, keep it about the animals, because it's terrible. Whatever your opinion is the wrong one. That's it. That's what I'm going to say. Whatever your opinion is on human issues that have nothing to do with the animals is the wrong opinion, because someone is not going to like it. So it's the wrong opinion. And also, the animals don't like it, because now you're not talking about them and you're wasting your time with some other stuff that's not gonna get resolved. You're not gonna solve it with some video, so stop it with that. And I know what you're thinking, audience. AJ, but aren't you doing the same thing? Isn't this like a long video about how not to make a long video about something that's not the animal? Ass bread? Yeah, it's an ass bread of a video, because this is an ass bread subject. It's like, grr. No, stop it with this. Shut up and just eat lentils and talk about the animals, and let's free them once and for all. This thing is taking too long, and we're not going to make it happen if we keep diverting this thing and we keep sidetracking or whatnot. So I don't know, that's all I have to say for now. Gah! Just do the the outro. Let's just do go to the outro. AJ out! I'm gonna live forever.